Today, I want to ask you a silly question. Do you think that God cares that I lost my keys? So, as some of you, if you're on Facebook, you know that I lost my keys, and that I think I mentioned it in my last blog post. And the key for my car, the dealership said they want $179 for it. So, given that expense, I thought to myself, well, it'd be worth it for me to try to look for my keys. And so I looked everywhere that I could think of. I called every place that I went on this last trip that I went on, which I went to the Boston area, Dallas Fort Worth at the layover, and then the ultimate destination of Denver, Colorado. And then I went some places in between there, and on my way, I realized the keys were missing while I was in Denver. So I just kind of looked at everything Denver and back, and then some of the places when I first got there before realizing I lost the key. So why do I tell you this? Well, if you read below, you're gonna see a Bible verse, and it's about it talks about a man who lost a sheep and left the 99 to go find the one sheep, and it talks about a woman who lost a coin and was looking all over the place for it. And then at the end of it, it talks about the joy that they feel having found that thing that was lost. So even though they still had all the sheep and the woman still had all her coins, it was that one that was lost that she had the most joy for. And I can tell you, if I find my keys, I'm going to be a happy camper. But in the meantime, I want to relate what I think that this story, my key story and the story of the sheep and the story of the coin, tell us not just about us, but also what it tells us about God. Because the story after those talks about the prodigal son, and we all know that story, or at least some of us. But I'm not going to get into that. What I'm going to get into is this part of us that is so much like God, and we don't even realize it. At the end of the story with the lady looking for the coin, Jesus pretty much says, and that's how God feels when a sinner repents, or someone who misses the mark, or who has been missing the mark, turns around and goes in a better direction. It's that feeling, that critical feeling of finding something that was lost, that joy that sometimes comes because, a lot of times we don't appreciate what we have. A lot of times as humans, like I have my keys, I use them every day, and I didn't say, oh, keys, I love you, I appreciate you, thank you for, being there for me when I need to start my car, or unlock my door, or unlock my tailgate, or whatever the case may be, open my mailbox. I don't thank my keys every day for being in my life, but you know what? As soon as they were gone, I wish that I had them. And when I find them, I'm going to feel this level of joy. But then after a while, that level of joy is going to dissipate. And then I'll probably forget all about it until maybe I lose my keys or lose something else again. That's the way that we are as humans. But that space where we're like, oh, the thing that I lost, how I wish it was here. And that space where we say, oh, the thing that I lost, man, I found it and it feels so good. What if God is in that space all the time with us? What if God is always in that space of anticipation, just wanting us to come back, to come to the awareness of who we are in God, and then also in that space of welcoming, of crazy radical welcoming. It's like, I'm so glad that you're here. I never want to lose you again. And somehow God's in that space all the time. That intense space, that most intense space of being aware that something is lost, and that most intense space of being aware that something is found, and being in that space eternally. I mean, if somebody felt that way about you, if you had someone that was just the intensity of you being gone would just be like, oh, how I wish they were here. And then that intensity of when you come back, it's like, I am so happy that you are here. I would give everything to keep you here. If you could just feel that and imagine that there is a source of our life, a conscious source of our life that feels that way. And I put emphasis on feels that way all the time. Then it's just I'm almost speechless for it. And that's, me being speechless is a rare thing. But just imagine that. But what's even cooler is we have that feeling inside of us. Those parables and those stories point us to that feeling inside of us that we could feel all of the time about everything. That guy could have felt, that shepherd could have felt it about all 100 of his sheep all of the time. That woman could have felt that about her coins all of the time. But as humans, we tend not to do that. It's not until we think something's lost or we might lose it or that it's found that we usually experience that level of gratitude. And I think that that's there for a reason, so that we can remember what it feels like and then know that that kind of, I don't even know, I'm going to use the word desire because I can't think of another one, is there in God for us and there in us for God and for life and for everything that is. It is very present. It is right now, and we can all access it, and you know what it's like. Just think about something that you've lost and you found. Think about a relationship. Think about a job. Think about whatever draws that feeling into you, and feel that gratitude, that intense gratitude of just being like, wow, it's here. I'm so grateful. And you know the value of something when it's gone. Like that song says, on and on it seems to go, that we don't know what we got till it's gone. Well, that's true. But once you remember what you have, once you receive what's always been there for you, imagine living like that all the time and being so grateful all the time. I think that that's the gift that we've been given, and that we can tap into it whenever we want. And so, to wrap up this question about whether or not God cares if I lost my keys, I would say yes. I would say that God cares very much that I lost my keys. Not because of the keys themselves, but that feeling that comes up when I became aware that I did lose my keys, and the gratitude that I could potentially feel when they come back, but that I do feel now, because even though the keys are lost, I haven't lost anything. It's been replaced with this awareness. It's been replaced with this information that I'm sharing with you right now, just because I lost my keys. And I'll share with you another story real quick, that this isn't the first time that losing keys has blessed me in my life. There's a young woman out there, about 18, Jocelyn Phillips, shout out to you, who I wouldn't even know if her mom hadn't lost her set of keys when she was about 3 years old. And because of her losing her keys and me being in the right place at the right time, and being able to help them when they were looking for those keys, this great person came into my life, and Heather and her extended family, Gary, and all the other kids that are in my life now because of a set of lost keys. So even though I can't find my keys, and I might have to dish out this money to pay for a new truck key, I'm still happy, because God does care if I lose my keys, because God's using that for a purpose. And here is part of that purpose right now. And hopefully, if you get something out of this, I ask you to share it. Not because it's going to do anything for me. I do these blogs for free right now, so it has nothing to do with that. It's because the more of us that know how loved we are, how valued we are, the more we can own that feeling, and the more we can project that feeling onto others, into our life, the world will be so much of a better place. So thank you for my lost keys. If you return, I will be dancing a jig. But if you don't, thank you for the awareness that you brought to my life. Take care. Bye.